Hello, welcome to day 6 of 30 of our meditation. Here we go again. So, just a quick recap. For anyone who's new, I'm filming this essentially mostly for proof. That was the original idea, but I didn't really contemplate exactly what setting myself up for 30 days of our meditation entailed. So it's a much larger experience than I initially thought, but I'm definitely learning a lot regardless of if it's going exactly how I planned, which it isn't. It seems to be quite a bit more difficult than I imagined. I seem to be in concept land quite a bit. When I used to meditate, say like half a year ago, it was the last time I properly had a super meditation habit, and that's the reason I'm doing this whole procedure in the first place, is because depression has sort of crept up on me once again. Not as intense as it used to be, but it's definitely there. It's a reoccurring problem for a few months now, and it's very obvious it's a real thing. So the original idea was, let's see if I can meditate this away. So yeah, regardless, I'm definitely learning a lot. It does seem that really I have defeated the depression. It's only been, this is the 6th day today. Like I said, it's not a super intense depression. It's just I did have depressive episodes, and I was having depressive episodes like every week, no doubt, where I just like sleep for ages or just consume bullshit and just feel kind of shit and not optimistic about my vision. So yeah, I definitely am learning a lot. Some things I was contemplating at work today, and I didn't have. So yeah, I was contemplating some things at work today. So the whole meditation, daily meditation, is in general making me more mindful. And regardless if the actual experience itself is, calm, peaceful, mystical, which is kind of how I want it to be. Normally I get visuals of like just cool lights like shrinking and shit, or like splodges. I haven't got that this whole time, which is why I'm feeling a bit strange about this whole experience, because the meditation is quite foreign to me, because it doesn't feel like how it used to feel at all. And perhaps it's my brain chemistry has changed, or this is after I had super psychedelic abuse where I just turned into God, which is the second video on my channel, but it went a lot deeper than that, but I'm yet to release those videos. So yeah, in general, I'm a lot more mindful throughout my day, and yes, regardless if the actual experience itself is going how I want it to, it does seem to be like doubling my growth outside of the meditation. Like the actual ramifications of the meditation practice is quite visible, I believe. I seem to be thinking a lot deeper. So the idea of going into this was kind of right. So I have my problems in my life, but the thing is, fundamentally, my mind is creating the problem. And this is definitely the case. Your mind is like mapping the problem, but there's no problem objectively. And how can I verify this? Well, one, you always have problems. I was watching actualize.org's meditation retreat just to get some ideas and some insights for my meditation that I'm doing now, that you're watching now, and he was saying, have you ever noticed that you always have 10 problems? Not literally 10, but just X amount. So you always have 10 problems. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy, it doesn't matter if you got a girlfriend or the relationship, or you've always got 10 problems. And it's the concept of the grass is always greener on the other side, which is actually, I never connected those dots of the grass is always greener on the other side, and this is the whole scheme of personal development. The grass is always greener on the other side, even though it does work with that. But in terms of things like, say I have this trauma, it's the only thing I can really call it. I have trauma around this like certain girl who cut me off, and there's like this fantasy about what would happen if we reunited. It's not like a relationship thing, it's just someone who was very close to me. This was a few years ago now. and cut me off, and I never got closure of why she cut me off, and this has kind of been a reoccurring torment throughout my life, and it seems yeah, I just live in this concept of the grass is greener on the other side. I'm sure if I actually met her or whatever, you know, it's just a fantasy ultimately. Do you understand what I'm saying? So why am I saying this? Good question. So the grass. So you always have 10 problems. Man, I really feel like my I could do with some like nootropic or some shit. Like, I don't know. I feel like my brain is not optimally running most of the time. Like, I do consider myself fairly intelligent in terms of like the existential truths. Like, I hold this view that no one's inherently stupid. Maybe that's just a safeguard for me and my worry that I'm actually thick as fuck. Thick as fuck, not thick. Is it fit? I don't know, whatever. But no, I do believe that I'm quite smart in terms of many things. Like, I can do Rubik's Cubes and shit. I'm good at that. I'm good at the existential things and the intuitional side of like the psychedelic experience. I think everyone has a piece of the puzzle. Or as Terence McKenna says, the mushroom says, nobody has a piece of the puzzle. So yeah, you always have 10 problems. Yeah, so I don't remember why I said the grass was greener on the other side. Well, I guess it's on the other side of your problems. So yeah, you always have 10 problems. And so what I was saying originally before I scrambled was, I'm so wrapped up in these problems, and the idea was that, I guess, and I didn't really think too deeply into it, was that I could meditate and you know, work on the BIOS of my being, which is creating the problems. However, there's a few flaws with this, and again, it's my failure to think critically before, because I really just decided, fuck it, I'll do the 30-day meditation. So I'm really realizing what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Because I had to do something, man. You gotta move, at least, because you can't change directions before you move. You can't turn the car around before you move, or whatever the fuck. You gotta press the accelerator first. Which is the whole story on my channel. If I didn't just impulsively make my first video, Wage Slave Realization, while I was tripping, then I wouldn't be here right now. So, it's really, you should really just, I always had this concept of I wanted to be perfect. Like, my channel has actually been made on my birthday, August 9th. And this was intentional, because I was very specific about all the details, and I'm quite a perfectionist in that sense. Not this channel. I'm gonna check the audio quick. I always had this concept of I wanted to like my own video. I always ramble so much at the start, but it's good, kind of. This whole process is quite good for me in terms of it's nice to be able to reflect and just vent without having to give a fuck about what I'm saying exactly. But yeah, so it was made on August 9th, which is just my perfectionism. You see, the reason why I'm struggling to think critically is because I have no idea why I'm telling you this. So why is this? I'm healthy, other than breathing in fucking exhaust fumes at work all day, which is something I need to escape as quick as possible. Why can't I not, like... It's not all the time. See, I don't remember why I'm telling you this, but here's another example. So all the cuts in this video are like to each frame, and I'm still doing this with a trip report that's going to come out, and if anything it probably made the video worse, but you see what I mean. It's so like every frame mattered to me, and I literally watched every frame one by one.
People who turn it away, you don't have the patience to go within. You can't sit down for an hour. You can't get rid of all your addictions. You know exactly what I'm on about. Even the people who don't want to listen, you know exactly what I'm fucking on about. What do? You fucking watch Netflix and you fill yourself with drugs all fucking day.
I hate this. I haven't watched this video for ages because I'm quite scared to be honest, because I made this at the peak of my, well, it wasn't even the peak, but I was going through psychedelic abuse, and it felt like my life was propelling into infinity, as I would say, where I'm finally becoming actualized, as if all I've been doing before this experience was doing the groundwork, and then this was finally the sprouting of the seed, and it did really feel that way. But then depression came, and that's what ultimately ended my my fucking God mode, because I went just fucking full God mode. I'm yet to make an apology video for the way that I've acted, and there's more examples in unreleased trip reports. But yeah, I went full God mode, and then ultimately depression came back and humbled me, which I feel like is karma, in a sense. I feel like the universe will teach you what you need to learn, maybe. But yeah, I did really, I became humbled after depression came back, and I was here telling everyone I'm above my addictions and I've cured it all and I'm becoming self-actualized, and then, oh no, what's this creeping up on me? Depression, oh, go away. So yeah, to be honest, I have been suffering like quite immensely for the past 2 months. Like, I can even find videos if I want, because I always have this video diary on my Snapchat and that, and I just remember, like, I don't know why I'm suffering so much, and I guess this is why I started this journey in the first place, is because when I reflect on these depressive episodes, I really was suffering a lot, and many days throughout work I'd have very depressing days, and it all felt like ultimately a lack of consciousness. I don't know, maybe there's more like a more fundamental physical reason for that, because this happened after a psychedelic abuse, so perhaps I scrambled my fucking brain. I was doing mushrooms like every week, sometimes 2 days in a row, or twice a week for, I don't even know, from November till the end of February. So yeah, what was I saying? I keep going off track. So I know that my mind is creating these problems, right? There aren't any problems out there. I see how my mind is creating all these problems. You always have 10 problems, whatever the fuck. So I thought if I could work on the BIOS of my being, the actual operating system, through meditation, then I guess I thought maybe I don't know, because I didn't really think about it too much. I just kind of hit record because I just needed to begin. But what I see now anyway, regardless of what I did think, whatever that was, is the problem is actually the wrapping up within the thoughts. And I remember when I had a psychedelic trip in the midst kind of this depression that I'm talking about, I realized how identified I've been with my thoughts. And this is a video by Leo as well, Actualized. He says it's called Grasping the Illusory Nature of Thought. And it's how you actually apply meaning to the thoughts that's the problem. The thought is just like objective. What he was saying is like how you have no choice but to read this, right? But objectively it doesn't say anything, it's just fucking nothing. And it's your brain that's actually mapping the concept onto the visuals. And this is something I kind of realized yesterday, because yesterday I meditated for about 10 minutes, and then I basically didn't really have much choice. I did, but like if I have like insight or an intuition to follow some thought or a concept, I'm gonna do it. And yesterday I done that, and it was the closest I ever got to realizing no self. I realized that I am direct, and this was on the live meditation. I'm gonna make a video about this in the future, but I realized that I'm actually mapping all these concepts onto external things. I have every object I see, I have a name for it. I have a concept for where it came from, what it's made out of, what its purpose is, how much it roughly costs. So I'm mapping concepts onto all these objects, and then language, and all these concepts are things that I've accumulated throughout my life. And then when I look at words and shit, obviously I've learned a language, and that's also part of me, so I am directly entangled with the external world. And then there's the phenomena of like qualia, of how does matter actually turn into the sensation of qualia. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about, you know, the phenomena of color, like how do you know that your red is the same as my red, and there's no way to ever really figure that out. And then I was thinking about the nature of reality fundamentally, and I realized that the only thing that exists is this present moment, and everything outside of the present moment right now is a concept. And you can say that the concept exists, yes, like my mum, because she's not here right now, but she only exists as a concept. The only thing that exists is this exact frame in present moment right now. So you could really say that behind this wall in front of me, that conceptually there's cars, there's houses, and the street that I live down, but that's a conception, and none of that actually exists. The only thing that exists is here right now. So in a sense I was meditating because I was focused a lot on the present moment, but I was also contemplating about the nature of reality and the nature of the self. And so I realized the present moment is the only thing that ever exists. And then through that I realized that the idea that there's any other conscious beings, and this is getting into solipsism, the idea that there's any other conscious being out there is also a concept. So there's actual, and then there's a concept. And what is actual is qualia. What you can see, what you can hear, what you can feel, what concepts you can think of, but they only exist as a concept. And there's ultimately nothing outside of the present moment. You can't argue with it. I dare you to try and tell me anything that is outside of the present moment, and what you realize is any concept or anything you come up with is a concept within the present moment, because you cannot think anything outside of the present moment. So the present moment is like an internal now. There's no future, there's no past, there's no 5 years, there's no 10 years, there's only this forever. Which is things I've realized on psychedelic trips, and I had a bad trip about this concept, which there's a video, I'll have a video coming out very soon, a bad trip report. It's quite a good video, I think. I'm still editing it in the same fashion I did of the Magic Mushroom Awakening, so it's taken a long time, but so yeah, I realized that there's actually no other conscious beings, and that's ultimately a concept. There's no one else who's conscious, because this is the only thing that exists. And therefore, like, I am sat at the end of everything exists, however I'm directly entangled with everything, and I also realize everything is exactly how you perceive it. As I was watching a video on Actualized again, as he is like a very foundational teacher of mine these days, of how I'm orientating. I found he's the deepest teacher that exists, and I'm probably going to be listening to him for a good another fucking 5 years. Hopefully I can ultimately transcend him, but I find his ideas are so profound, and he really, after studying all of his content, and even like his insights on his actual website, and really trying to get to know him and his content, I see that ultimately he's just in the pursuit of truth, and anything ultimately that you think about actualized.org, he eventually brings it up and breaks it down for you. If you think he's a cunt, if you think he's been leaving shit comments, he eventually brings that up, and he go, oh, I've been noticing I've been leaving shit comments, and anyone who has any idea about anything that he's not doing, or that he should be doing, or anything that he's missing, or in a way that he's deluded, he eventually will bring up, through searching through all of his content, that he is actually aware of the things that you are aware of. So in that sense, he is a fundamental teacher of mine, but I feel like he does miss a lot the intuition of nature. How he doesn't really connect the dots of nature, in my view, is, you know, the more synthetic shit gets, the ultimately worse things are going to get. The more you disconnect from soul, which is nature, less man-made synthetic bullshit. I'm just rambling so much. But again, I imagine he'll probably find that out eventually in the end. Right. So, that was yesterday. So yeah, actualized. What was the concept that I learned from actualized? I have no idea.
It's fucking bizarre.
What am I doing? Fuck's sake. So in a sense, I don't really want to say half the stuff I'm saying because I want to leave it for my actual channel, but I certainly will have in-depth videos in the future, and I don't imagine anyone's particularly watching this shit anyway. So what was I saying?
I'm sat at the end of everything exists, however I'm directly entangled with everything, and I also realise everything is exactly how you perceive it. As I was watching
Right, yeah, so everything is exactly as you perceive it. So there's a clip of Leo on Actualized where he starts speaking Russian, and he goes, you see, you can't understand these things unless I'm Russian, so it's only how I perceive it, and it's my language, my personality, I guess, if you want to say that, would be the language that I've learned and the concepts that I've acquired, which is directly mapped onto the external world. All of my fears directly contribute to how I orientate and how I do things. All my fears, all of my desires, all my pleasures, all my likes, all my dislikes, things that I find beautiful, things I find ugly, everything, these are all my personalities being mapped onto the external world. And like I say, how do you know your red is my red? Again, this is, so the external world is directly entangled, and actually there is no self. And on the same token, there is nothing but the self. So and this is not things I've just accepted as dogma, these are things that I've contemplated, and anything, to be honest, I've noticed now that if I don't accept something, I won't just listen to it as dogma, I will go and verify it later, but whether or not that's just been implanted in my mind, and then I'm just verifying my subconscious, is a deep one. But, I don't know, if it is, then fuck me, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to get past that, because yesterday I had a direct experience of realizing no self. I went silent for 50 minutes with my eyes open. I was looking around, everything was looking psychedelic almost. Yeah, and then eventually I just turned inward and said, who am I? And then after a lot of contemplating, I just came out with, I'm a concept. And how I realized that eventually is, when I'm in the present moment, there's no me. If I focus on the qualia, there is no me. So yeah, I ultimately realised that, you know, the concept of what's actual and what is a concept, because I was thinking, who am I? After this big spike of weirdness where I started to realise no self came down, I was like, well, who am I? And I was saying what I normally would say. I was like, well, I'm my personality, you know? I know what I like, I know what I do, if I'm not going to be all stupid about it and weird and existential. And then I realised, well, that's a concept. I'm not any of those things. I'm not anything. I'm right now. As right now is the only thing that exists. Therefore, the construction of who I am, the ego, does not exist. It's an illusion. This exists now. This is, and that's it. So when I say that, I feel a void within myself. I feel like there's nothing behind my eyes. And it's also weird, I find, how I feel like I'm here, how I am my eyes, basically. And I don't know why that is. Like, why, when I feel like, where am I think here, like, behind my eyes, right? Why? If I don't have any eyes, would I still feel like my head? That's a weird thing to think about. Would I still feel like my head if I didn't have any eyes? Maybe. Because I was meditating a long time ago before at work, and I was like, where is my consciousness located? When I was contemplating, and it just felt like my consciousness is located really in my brain. Which may be the case, but it's not to say that there isn't a consciousness that the brain is tuning into and picking up on, and that it's not that the consciousness is only in the brain, but that it's actually always here, but it's the brain that channels it into this body, and when the body goes, the radio waves, invisible waves, are still there. Another thing is, these questions are so silly to me when I'm on psychedelics. It's like, bang, I know the answer, and it's a deep intuition, and I just know it, apparently. Whether or not that's delusion, I'm sure a lot of it is, but it seems like I just know. Like, if I were to ask myself if I exist on psychedelics, I'd be like, of course I don't fucking exist. There's no self. And I don't even need to think or, like, deconstruct or logically get to that conclusion. I'm just like, there's no self. I don't exist. Everything's an infinite field of consciousness, and it's just point blank, I know. And this has been, like, the case for over a year at this point. Like, I feel like I just know when I'm on psychedelics. Like, it all just becomes so clear, and I really do think that all of the deep existential truths, and even not the existential truths, just the ways that you're not holding up in your life, and the solution to all of your problems is right in front of your nose, and all it takes is to go on like a solo retreat, potentially, or something, where you just retreat indoors by yourself for 2 weeks, or maybe you take some psychedelic or anything, and you just remember what you already know, and you realize, once you realize, you're like, it's so obvious, how did I not see it? And then you realize that everything that you've now realized is just been in front of you the whole fucking time. Alright, is that enough preface? What am I even talking about? I was talking about how I realized yesterday, no self. So yeah, in that sense, it's been profound. Let's have a recap on the experiences overall. So if you scroll down on here, I've got all of the meditations. Day 1 was a difficult day, not the most difficult by far. Day 3 was the difficult. Day 1 was yeah, it was difficult. Nothing really happened. It went really quick for some reason. Day 2, I had profound emotions of gratitude and just people actually watching these? What about that shit? Oh, it's the wrong channel. Gratitude, and I thought life is such a gift. Day 3 was fucking super difficult. I felt fatigued because I had a shit day at work. Day 4, Day 4 is when I realised no self, and I didn't particularly meditate, I guess. I didn't do like a rigorous technique. I just sat there and was like, oh my god, I don't exist. And that was quite a profound experience. Oh wait, no, that was day 5. So day 4 was a really shit day. Day 3, I don't even fucking remember at this point, man. And I'm supposed to be writing descriptions on all these. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, I got super horny on 2 occasions, almost fell asleep. Not profound, monkey mind. Yeah, just difficult shit, man. Overall, it's just been difficult. The only really profound experiences I've had has been like mostly conceptual. This was a deep emotional thing that then later went into a rabbit hole of conceptualizing, which I'm okay with doing if it comes up. Because if I feel like there's something worth conceptualizing about that I won't normally have when I'm just going about my day, then I'm going to go down that rabbit hole, because it's quite a rare thing. But I've also got to watch out and be careful that it's not just my ego throwing me a bone. 4 o'clock. 5. Alright, I gotta be kind of quick to be fair. But yeah, 5, I realise I know self. 6 is where I am now, so is that enough chatting shit? Honestly, I don't even need to say any of this stuff at the beginning, and it might not be even worth saying it, so... Yeah, long story short, I'm going to have a in-depth video about all the insights that I have eventually through this experience and what I ultimately learned. Yeah, I think at the end of this I'm going to journal a lot and write a lot down and reflect on the whole experience. Just say what I learned, and what I learned overall, I don't know if I went over this, my mind is just very jiggly, is that the problem is with the depression. First of all, depression is a concept. You're not depressed if you do some deep breaths and shit. Number 2, the problem is your entanglement with your problems. You can either delete all desires by going Buddha, but that's just kind of unrealistic, especially with my situation right now, so that's not an option really. I have these problems for a reason, clearly. It's not worth just going to the BIOS and eradicating my brain that makes these problems, because I'm always gonna have problems, right? But it's worth sorting out these ground level problems, which is my job, which is affecting my health, which is affecting my spirituality, my job, which is affecting my free time, my money problem, which is affecting my freedom. So these problems are worth, and they are legitimate problems. Not that I can't be happy without them if I, you know, yes, my mind is creating these problems, but when it's a problem as real as I'm breathing in fucking exhaust fumes all day at work, then it's a problem worth sorting out, you know? I can't just like meditate my way through that. I can ultimately, but I'm not going to feel good in my body. And I still want to play the game of life. I don't want to just meditate everything away. There's stuff I want to do, there's games, I'm still in the game, I'm still in the dream, and I still want to play it. So in that sense, these problems are worth overcoming. And when my problems get to, you know, I've sorted my money problem out, and I'm not so controlled by this wage slavery, then I can take a step back and go more Buddha on my problems, because those problems are just like more minute, I guess. But I don't know. You always adapt new problems, whether or not they'll be at the same depth. It's hard to say because I'm not there right now. Yeah, that's it. I think I've said everything I need to say, or more than enough. How long has it been? Fuck it. No way! Half a fucking hour? Fuck me. So yeah, the problem is the entanglement with the problems. You're always going to adapt new problems, but you need to learn to take a step back from them. You don't want to be like, oh, I have all these problems, man, because as I had on day 2, I realised that there's actually so much to be grateful for, and there's actually a lot more positive than there is negative. The fact that I'm sat here right now with abundance of food and water, even though I don't have much free time, like, I've got everything I need. At least I'm not just physically suffering in the cold, starving to death with loads of illnesses amongst the whole fucking village that's just completely helpless and just being eaten by fucking weird bugs and shit, because that shit goes down. At least I'm just sat here in a first world country. My problem, so in that sense, the idea that when I get famous and that these problems will be less, like, yes, the problems that I have now are real problems in terms of wage slavery, but they're infinitely better than the problems that I could be facing if I wasn't so fortunate where I am now. So in that sense, what fucking problems do I really have? You know? What problems do I have? I don't. And it makes me feel really good actually to think like that. But a lot of the time when I'm in these shit moods, like this morning, and this is something actually worth saying, so I believe a lot of the root of my depression, and this is from the mindfulness that I'm gaining from these meditations here. I'm realizing that like a lot of my depression is actually just coming from my routine. This morning I woke up and rushed out the door. I was 2 minutes late to work. All this shit spilled out in my bag. I'm still yet to book my car test, which seems to be a bit difficult in this day and age, but regardless, I'm still yet to do it. So it's like I'm focusing on the wrong things, and I often think that I'm kind of using spirituality as a distraction from the mundane. I'm trying to escape into the mystical, which is definitely what I was doing with psychedelics at some point. So psychedelics can definitely be an escape into the mystical and away from solid, boring reality where you've got your problems and your like grunt work of personal development. You can escape for a minute, go look at the nature, go look at the beauty, which I guess there's nothing wrong with. Fuck it. So yeah, it's in my routine, because I woke up and I was late to work, and I got to work and I was trying to eat my fucking breakfast at work, as I do, but it depends where we're going and how far away is it and how long I can sit in the cab for, so I didn't really get to eat my breakfast. And I was slow in the morning, and I was wearing my jumper while I was cycling to work, and then I got really hot, and then I tried to take it off, and then I opened my bag and everything is spilled out everywhere. So it's just a deorganization, and it's this way, starting my morning this way every day is just, that's what's killing me. And that's what's, because I felt a little bit kind of depressed-ish or in a shit mood this morning, and I was like, well, obviously that's because of the way that I started my day, because it was unorganized. And the house is a fucking mess a lot of the time when my dad is not here. He's not here too much these days. So I'm just alone, essentially. And the house is a mess a lot of the time. And, like, it doesn't seem like a problem, I guess, because you're like, or it's only a problem if you perceive it as it. But when I'm actually trying to function in the house, if I put something down, I can't find it because there's mess everywhere. And if there was only one object on the side, that would be the one that I'm looking for. But there isn't. There's like 20 objects on the side. So I can't fucking find the shit that I put down because there's fucking shit all over everywhere. Know what I mean? So it's these problems actually that is really probably causing the stress. And the reason that why everything's a mess and why I act this way is because I just focus purely on YouTube a lot of the time. Since my second video, this is what I've been doing. I've been hammering at a YouTube video, forgetting all of my physical and my mental health just to quickly get this video out, because I don't like leaving my channel stationary for a long time, because I feel like a lot of my life is hinging off of this channel. This is what I want to fucking do. So I forget everything else, fuck it. I'll work every waking hour, as Elon Musk says, but then on the other side of that, like, I need to take care of my mental and my physical health. It's a balance. Why am I saying any of this? This always happens. I just get completely lost. And all of this is absolutely unnecessary. All I need to do is prove that I'm meditating. But instead I go on these tangents. But in a sense, fuck it. Because I feel like it's actually probably quite good for me. Because I'm being mindful. I've got a lot on my mind. I come here, I sit here every day, and I'm essentially journaling every day. And I need to do more journaling, man. So yeah, that's it. The problem, it's not like I can meditate. That's it. This is what I realized earlier today. Meditation is not a substitute for good habits. It is a good habit in and of itself, but I can't just... So what I'm saying is, I have these problems, right, that my mind is creating. So I think, oh, if I meditate, then my mind will take a step back from creating these problems and I'll be more happy in the present moment. Which is true, however, I can't just meditate all my problems away. Not really. Especially when you have to go to work still and you don't even have time to meditate. Unless I just stopped doing everything and just meditated, but that's not realistic, man. I could probably psychedelic all of my problems away. And they get you to the same place, meditation and psychedelics, ultimately. If I was on a psychedelic every day, always, depending on what it was, like... and once it opened up into God mode, which it takes about an hour or so for me, then I wouldn't have any problems, I don't feel, for the most part. When I get into God mode, I just feel like I'm looking at everything from such a heightened perspective, and there are no problems. So in that sense, I can meditate my problems away. However, why would I do that? There's an actual life that I want to live. I don't want to just meditate away. You know, if I have the desire that I want to get into a successful relationship, why should I just meditate that away? There's probably wisdom in just fulfilling these desires and getting them out of the way, and then maybe pursuing spirituality a bit more later. So yeah, Jesus Christ, do I have anything else to say? I don't fucking think so. How do I feel? So I'm very hungry right now. I'm on an empty stomach, so I thought it'd be a good idea to do this now. Yeah. So I haven't got anything else to say, I guess. The only method that I'm going to be using, and well, there's going to be a slight variation, but this is the center for the next 30 days, no doubt. I'm not going to go into any other method, not really, because I need to simplify. The only thing I'm obligated to do is sit there, be present amongst the senses and the present moment. That's it. When I notice I'm thinking, and I become present. That is the core of the rest of this journey. Because I don't want to overcomplicate things. I want to have one set rule. Be present. And that is the foundation. If I want to do a bit of self-inquiry when it feels right here and there, I'll let myself do that. If I want to contemplate on some very interesting thing that just appeared, then I'm going to do that. Because I'm not going to let this thing just disappear. In the future, once I've worked through this field of my mind, and I've dealt with all these concepts enough, then I'll be a bit more rigorous about the present moment. But if something interesting comes up and I can go down that rabbit hole and I feel like my intuition is telling me to do that, then I'm going to do that, because that is how I've had the most profound experiences on this whole thing so far. So yeah, that's the main rule. When I begin, I'm going to focus on the present moment very deeply as much as I can, and I do this method now of taking it all in. By that I mean taking all the senses, taking the whole of your being, and then let it go. And that gets me into quite a nice state. Really my goal is I just want to get the visuals. I want to get, I want to know that that's still there. Because I haven't had it for a while. I want to know that that's still there. And I want to get into a deep flow state, because I used to be able to get into a flow state for half an hour or so, or maybe the whole hour if I'm lucky, of peace. And just feeling good. And I'll just sit there and I'll be feeling so good. And I feel like in a sense the psychedelic abuse just threw me off. I'm happy I'd done it, but it's very clear that drastically altered the path of my life. Okay, have I spoke for long enough? How long have I been going on for now? Over 40 minutes. I can't fucking believe that. And just 43 fucking minutes. That's mad. Yeah. Oops. What is this?
Hey, listen.
The unfiltered truth about Hamza.
Video, I want to talk about the truth about Hamza, because there's a few things that you guys don't know that you probably should know. And for those of you who don't know who he is, Hamza's a personal development YouTuber who's absolutely killing it right now. When I go to my YouTube analytics, there's a section that tells me what other channels people in my audience watch. And as you can see, it's Hamza Unfiltered, which is his second channel. Hamza. He's absolutely killing it. The YouTube algorithm's loving him. And he's got a cult of people. Yep, he calls himself a cult leader, which is something we're going to unpack. He's also created video about me that some people may call a hate video. He's then apologized for that video in public and in private. He's then apologized for that video in public.
I'm gonna watch this later. Alright, enough fucking about, man. I've got to get on with this. So yeah, that's it. Present moment. I don't need to say anything else. Like I said, I kind of regret even saying any of this stuff because these are all concepts I want for the main channel. Mostly, but hopefully I can get the ball rolling on this channel as well eventually, you know? And whatever. It's all good publicity. It's not all about the numbers. It's just about if anyone has any value in anything that I'm saying, then they'll stick around. I hope. Alright. That's it. Hour, get it out of the fucking way, then I can eat and continue my day. Yeah, I don't want to do it, to be honest, but I've set myself up for this, you know, whatever. If I can do it, then I said at the beginning that I'll be a radically different person by the end of this experience, and I was doubting that, but I do still hold that true. I might try some breath work as well, still ultimately focusing on the present moment and the in and out breath. But that is potentially why I'm not getting visuals, because I think I used to breathe a lot deeper, but I seem to be getting cocky because I have so many days. But I shouldn't act like that. I should act like I only have 5 minutes left of the whole experience every minute. Alright, I'm gonna have a piss. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna begin the meditation. I'm knackered, man. I've got one more day of work tomorrow, then I get 1 day off. Hopefully I can have a bit better meditation on that day off. We'll see. Alright. Enough shit talking. Enough stalling. I could have been done by now, basically. Yeah, another thing I was just thinking is that when I'm at work being wrapped up in my problems, I don't want to just be a complaining, moaning, bitching cunt. Because I was with this geezer not long ago, and there was this method that I learned from actualize.org, which is just gives you an idea of how profound his concepts are. It was called like how to exploit other people for personal development, and it sounds bad, but what he was saying is all the ways that you judge and flaw other people, actually turn that within yourself and ask yourself, how are you like that? So when I was with this guy and he just kept complaining about his life all day, I was like, well, how am I like that? And with this method, I am careful, because I don't want to be fucking complaining about all my problems, even though they're not that fucking bad. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I'm on an empty stomach. Should I sit here or on there? I kind of like sitting here. Alright. I'm gonna do a prank for the timestamps in the description. Haha, you thought this was a timestamp for the when I start the timer, but it isn't. It's a Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. You got fooled. Therefore, you have to follow me on Instagram. Baron Davison Oxon. I got all sorts of things. I got all my favourite actualize.org segments that you can see on there. Very worth watching. I got all sorts. I got sneak peeks. I got all the music that in the world by all your favourite artists that mention psilocybin and psychedelics. That's coming soon. And yeah, and insights I'm always posting on there. Follow me. And sorry, anyway, time to actually do the real timer. Timer 1 hour begins. Right, I'm not actually ready. Fuck it. Begins now. Present moment. Superness begins. Timer is counting. Here's my cushion of death. I'm going to cover that up so it don't look messy. You get me? Alright. Got my journal here that I haven't used the whole time. I got my bowl of gong. And let's begin. Present moment, super focus. Please try, you fucking loser. I've got an hour, and my goal is to get into the flow state. My goal is to try and find some visuals maybe. If I can get into the states I used to be able to get into, then it will change the whole paradigm of this entire meditation journey that I'm embarking on. That is my goal. Flow state, please. Whatever comes will come. know what? Oh, that's so stupid, man. The microphone's right in the way. God, maybe this is more difficult. I don't know. I might do some breath work instead for like ages, because I've heard that can be really profound, and I'm on an empty stomach, so it's a bit of a rare opportunity. I don't know if I'm... It's still kind of meditation, right? But I guess ultimately I'm still stalling the actual formal sit process. But fuck it, I think I'm gonna try the breath work. So I guess I'll try and go for as long as I can. So it's 4:30 now. And I'll try and go for the whole hour, so it'll be roughly about 45 minutes, I guess, or 50 minutes of breath work. I don't know if that's gonna happen because it's quite difficult, but I'm gonna breathe intensely for a long time. Apparently that can be very profound, so I guess we'll find out. I guess I'm cheating a bit, but fuck it, I don't know. Fuck's sake. I am struggling with myself, to be honest, but I'm not perfect. At least I'm doing something. I'll still consider this meditation, to be honest. It's still a present moment breath work, so fuck me. I'll let myself off of that. I don't know what would be the best way to do it. Whatever. I'm just gonna sit up here like this, and I'm just gonna breathe, okay? Oh, this is gonna be weird, man. I ain't ready for this. I feel like I should record it better. My mind definitely feels like it's going through some like purification through this whole process, regardless, because like I'm doing a lot of thinking without the stimulation, and normally I'm just stimulated all day every day, so at least I'm taking a good 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours of presence a day. Alright, I know I'm stalling, I'm sorry. Fucking hell. It is what it is, man. Fuck. Alright. I'm just gonna do it like this, because I ain't got time to fuck around. Apparently this can be very uncomfortable. This is the first time I've ever really done a prolonged breath work, so... Apparently you can start crying and face traumas, so... I guess we'll find out. it. I know I've gone off track. Whatever happens, fucking happens, alright? Fuck's sake. Fucking hell. At least I haven't just quit. There's no point where I've quit being present. I might have just contemplated here and there. Fuck it. Maybe I'm not doing too good, really. Oh fucking well. Whatever. I'm gonna do this breath work. Fuck off. I'm still present, whatever. Okay. This is so stupid, man. Why am I live streaming this shit? Ugh. Alright. whether or not I'm actually going to do this. I feel rather conscious right now. I think the breath work helped. But honestly, I'm thinking like, I know I've set myself up for this at this point, and to quit would be a shame in some sense, but I don't know, man. I feel like quitting, but I feel like I feel very conscious right now, so like I feel like I actually could meditate. But I don't actually know if it's the best option for me. I don't know if I really should meditate for the next 25 days. Or if maybe that's not the best option for me. Because you see, the way that I've set this up is like, I'm obligated to do an hour a day. At this point, I haven't really done an hour a day, I guess, with the time I'm wasting contemplating. But maybe I should just install the meditation habit instead of doing this. But at the same time, there's a lot of good content to be made there. Or maybe I should just take it slower. I do feel the benefits of the meditation. Whether or not I should do an hour a day for the next 30 days is, for the next 25 days is another question. I feel like I certainly could do it. But I don't know if it's the best option for me, man, to be honest. Like, I'm being genuine. I don't know if I really actually should do that. Because it's a lot of time. To go from not meditating at all to super rigorous meditation. It's still been a valuable experience, even if I do quit. I don't know if I should. But I guess, like I said, I didn't really know what I was getting into when I decided I was gonna do it. What's the problem? An hour of meditation a day, what's the problem? fuck's sake. What's the time, man? I might stop. I might stop the whole thing. Is that a good idea? I don't know, man. I don't want to lose what I've like started to build here. You see? When am I ever gonna be ready, really, you know? But what's ultimately the best idea? Okay, maybe if I turn the stream off now... Fuck! Because then I've kind of failed, haven't I? But what's the purpose in doing it like this, you know? Why should I meditate every day for 30 days for an hour? Because it's a nice thumbnail and title for a video, that's why. Otherwise, I wouldn't give a fuck. I would not give a fuck about doing this every day for 30 days if it wasn't a nice title for a video, right? So why should I do this? Or should I not do this? I don't even think I have long left, do I? You know what I think might be wiser? In a sense. Like, if I install a daily meditation habit for 20 minutes, just off my own back, without having to do all this, because this is quite a lot, in a sense. And I also maybe don't feel like it's necessary to fucking stream it now that I think about it, I guess. I know I have been, but do I really need to? It's just like putting more tension on the whole experience, I guess. But the way I honestly feel is I have stuff to do, and it's genuine stuff. A daily meditation habit has got to be a part of my life, no doubt. No fucking doubt. So that's going to be in the rest of my life now. But I kind of don't feel like maybe this is a good idea. I've definitely learned a lot so far. But whether or not it's actually a wise idea to do this for an hour a day and there's no way about it, I don't know about that, man. Because there's a lot of stuff I'm going to have to work around. I'm not going to be alone in this house for like every day. And then I'm also going to be going to my mum's. And these are just excuses. I could ultimately probably get around that. But then there's also like time. Like I want to go make dinner and stuff now, man. Because it's 5 o'clock. 5, 6, 7, 8, you know. Yeah, man. Honestly, I don't want to quit. And if I really want to, I could come back. But you know what? I actually feel like, and I know I just obviously don't want to sit here and meditate. And there's been so much resistance. So, obviously, and like yesterday, I was just conceptualizing all day. So obviously, there's a lot of resistance. So maybe it's my ego just like winning. But actually, logically, I do feel like it's an actual legit argument of maybe it's not really a good idea, because the only reason I'm really doing this is for YouTube, right? For a YouTube video in the end of the ultimate everything. But is it actually really necessary? Maybe I should do something like this in the future. I know maybe it seems like I'm failing here, and I'm likely gonna unlist these videos. But to be honest, I don't think it's wise, and I'm trying to be genuine. There's stuff I want to do, man. Like, I'll install a daily meditation hat, and I do feel a lot more conscious, yes. But maybe ultimately I can make it the title Depression versus Meditation, and then show that I did try to do a daily meditation every day, which ultimately, I guess, failed. I could power through it, but I'm pretty sure I made my decision. I honestly actually don't really think it's a good idea. Which is alright, you know, we learn. I'm happy for the experience overall. I did learn a lot, and I feel like I made exponential progress from not meditating for 2 months to at least trying. And I did have a lot of meditations, and one of them was at least a lot profound. One of the contemplations was quite profound, you know. I'll still meditate every day, but honestly, like, I'm struggling to really get into the flow state that I used to. And just the whole experience, I feel like I'm kind of wasting a lot of time. I feel like I could be putting a lot of this time and value into a lot more. I don't feel like it's necessary for me to meditate for an hour a day, especially when I haven't particularly got the time. Like, I do, but there's a lot of other things I'd rather be doing in my life. There's a lot to get on top of. And I don't know if it's particularly wise, to be honest. I think I'll do it again in the future. But that's it. I think I'm quitting. Fuck's sake. Whatever, you know, I started this kind of unconsciously, as I said at the beginning of this episode especially. It's like I didn't really know what I was doing or why I was doing it exactly. But, you know, you just got to start moving. And the whole experience I'm happy for in the end. No, I didn't do the 30 days. Which, again, is ultimately just going to humble me. At the end of the day, I could come on tomorrow. But, like I say, there's actually a lot to do in my life. And I'll certainly meditate every day, but I think an hour a day in the situation I'm in maybe is not right. I feel a lot more conscious and a lot better overall, but an hour a day, like, fucking hell. Especially live streaming it like this, it just looks too complex, the whole setup. Like, that's not really what meditation should be. I feel I shouldn't really be live streaming it. Like, I feel like I should just sit down comfortably however I want to, not have to worry about the camera angle or the way I look or anything. I shouldn't have to commentate to anybody. I should just do it for myself, you know. I shouldn't make my whole life a YouTube video, I guess. Which I was aware of, but alright, that's it. I'm going to turn this off now. I could come back tomorrow if I want to and continue it, ultimately. But I don't think it's a good idea. Because what I've done here is I've built this whole, like, thing now. But that's not really what I guess it should really be. It should be a meditation habit for the sake of it. And then if anything happens in the future, I'll make a video. I have this tendency to like make a video before it actually happens. Like when I'm doing trip reports, I'll talk about what I'm gonna do and shit, and then I'll get all wrapped up in that before I've even taken the dose. So in this sense, like whatever. I don't know. I guess, would I classify this as a failure? No, honestly not. Technically I did fail because I didn't set out and I didn't actually do the goal that I wanted to. And it doesn't look as epic as I want. I wanted a big playlist with my hours of meditation. Maybe that won't happen. Maybe it will happen in the future. But I think right now it's not a great idea. I'm still grateful for the whole experience because I learned a lot. I had a good time overall, to be honest, but I feel like I need to, there's a lot on my plate really that I have to do, and I'm putting this above everything, and this is actually changing the way I do my day. Like, I haven't eaten half the shit for my lunch because we was about to finish work, and I thought, well, I want to be on an empty stomach for this experience, you know, and whatever. If I can just do 20 minutes before bed, fuck it, I'll do that, man. I don't need to do this fucking mad shit. I've made it a bit too complex, man, because look at what I'm staring at on my screen right now, and then, I don't know, it just looks a bit mad to me. I don't know, I don't want it to be that. So what am I going to do? From this point on, no doubt I'm going to have a daily meditation habit, and there's nothing that's going to get in the way of that. 20 minutes of daily meditation, no fucking doubt. I reckon 20 minutes sound good to me. So yeah, I guess I fucking failed. But not really in my eyes. I learned a lot. Fuck it. I didn't do what I set out to do, but I learned a lot, and I feel a lot more conscious. I've got through the first initial barrier, but you know, tomorrow when I get back from work and I come to meditate, I'm gonna feel a lot better, and I'm pretty certain about that, because I'm just gonna sit down in whatever I want. I'm gonna meditate amongst myself. I'm not gonna have to talk no bullshit. I feel like all this conceptualizing before I actually do the meditation actually hinders it as well. So yeah, that's it. Fuck all this. Fuck this whole fucking playlist and this whole setup that I've built here. Fuck it all. My life is not a YouTube video. And ultimately the only reason why I want to do this hour a day for 30 days is because it's a nice title and it will make a nice video in the end. But I'm not gonna fucking do that. Not now. I've learned a lot. I've become a lot more conscious. And I've actually learned what I'm doing. I decided that I was going to embark on this journey before I actually knew exactly what that entailed and what I was going to do. But that's because I've become more conscious over time. And I do feel a lot better. I actually feel really good right now. That's weird in there, man. I actually feel peace now, ironically. I'm not doing this for you guys, I just feel good for a second. Hold on. Alright, that's it. Sorry to my 0 viewers. The entire time I've literally had no one watch anything. I don't blame them, but... Alrighty, that's it then. Maybe I'll change my mind and come back tomorrow. I highly doubt it, because when I really think about it logically, it's a bit of a hindrance, and I don't want to be that rigorous, because it's quite rigorous to do this whole turn on my computer, make the thumbnail, go live, talk about the preface, and even though, whatever, I'm not going to do that, man. I'm not going to do it. That's it. I made my choice. I think I'll actually learn from this choice, because it's, I think it's actually a wise move to make, ultimately. That's it. I'm out of here. Life goes on. Goodbye. Do I want to do this? Yeah, fuck it. It's going. It's not logical, man. I don't want to do this 30-day bollocks. Whatever. I'm still grateful for the whole thing. See you later.